Good afternoon and welcome to today's Sports Pavilion meeting. It's nice to have everybody here. We do have a quorum with 6 of our 7 committee members here. And if there are no changes or corrections to the minutes from the January 12th meeting, they'll be entered as they were written. And with that, we will move forward to Barry. Welcome. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, I'm feeling fine.
Okay.
Okay, this is a 2-month report, January and February compared to last January and February. Our league bowling was up $52,375. Our open bowling was up $6,561. Miscellaneous revenue was down $399. Total bowling revenue was up $58,537. Food and beverage was up $35,502, mainly due to the Lizard Lounge or pub. Grand total gross bowling revenue, we were up $102,216. And our games bowled, we were up 21,999 games. So continues to do well. Any questions?
Barry, if you wouldn't mind, just let's recap one section for everybody. I know Tracy asked this before the meeting started, but let's go over miscellaneous revenue. Let's just remind everybody what miscellaneous revenue encompasses.
It is shoe rental, locker rental. That's probably about it. Mostly shoe rental and locker rental. Late fees, things of that nature. And Wii bowling too. I'm sorry, Wii bowling. And Wii bowling had the biggest negative. They were practically the $399.
Sorry, thank you. Committee, any questions for Barry?
Barry, what do we attribute the Wii bowling down that much for? Was there something going on that we weren't aware of? Or?
COVID really hurt Wii bowling.
Okay.
We had a lot of, because we have a lot of senior bowlers.
All right.
And so we lost a number of bowlers in the Wii program due to COVID. They just decided not to come back.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Great. No other questions? Great. So Pete, I guess that's going to be you. Pete Finelli, our CFO.
Mike, I might ask you to just go to January's. Thank you. So, to a certain extent, you saw all Barry's numbers, and a little microcosm of what he said occurs virtually every month. So these are all published November and December, but I'm just going to jump to the year-to-date January. Continuously, the Sports Pavilion, which represents the lineage, solid numbers, 153,000 ahead, similar number against prior year. The question you just posed, Lisa, on ancillary, solid revenues with the return of lockers. I don't even think we were renting them a year ago, if I remember right.
Yeah,
I think they were COVID shut down. And then lastly, the food and beverage, which just so everybody, you see the little net in there. So our cost of goods sold is posted against that. So the 85 grand is across the entire pavilion, but the biggest change agent has been the Lizard Acres Pub. But it's not like that entirely falls to the bottom line, because moving to the expenses, then the wages and benefits that he assigns over there is the largest impetus for being over. The cost for him to staff that is buried within the wages and benefits. You'd expect with that many more lineage that there'd be more repairs. I don't have any specifics on that unless Barry does, but just overall then the 225 grand more of revenues is offset by a relatively marginal amount of operating expenses. And it's just been a solid performer against budget, 191. And $250,000 better than the prior year. Just really a solid performance coming out of the pavilion. That's really all I had. So.
Thank you, Pete. I do have one question. You can tell me yes, no, none of my business, whatever you choose. I'm just curious regarding, I know Lizard Acres is, seems to be doing really well, and I'm wondering, would it be possible for the next meeting for us to see the expenses just regarding the wages versus what we take in for Lizard Acres?
I've studied
a simple, a very
that?
simple.
Yeah, I actually did one through, I'm going to guess, the end of the year, anticipating that question, possibly even January. Doesn't help when I don't actually bring it to, so shame on me, but I will absolutely make that part of our agenda next period.
Thank you. And how scared are you that you're in my head anticipating what I'm going to ask? Thanks so much, Pete.
Yeah, sure.
Committee, anybody have any more questions for Pete? Oh, wow. Okay, great. Thanks so much, Pete. Appreciate all the work. And with that, I mean, y'all are so easy. You're satisfied so easily, but we'll move into Lizard Acres, and we're going to let Barry talk, and then we'll chime in.
Okay. Lizard Acres right now, we're doing music on every Wednesday. We're doing to some really big crowds. We're really happy with the performers, all local. So we're putting some new people in every now and then, and it seems the variety helps, keeps people's interest up. We're doing karaoke every other Saturday night. That seems to be pretty steady. And now we're back to doing trivia. Actually, we did trivia last night. We'll do it every other Tuesday, I think it is. So things are going well. Other than that, though, we have a steady crowd. We have a lot of regulars come in. So the income's been good. So that's about it. We'll analyze April for summer. I don't want to book too far out once all the snowbirds leave to see what kind of volume we're going to do. So it'll be a first time for that. We've not experienced summer before, so we'll go into it with our eyes open, and if we have to make adjustments, we'll make them quickly. So that's it.
Great. Thank you, Barry. That's what I was curious about, was the summer months, what we'd be looking at for entertainment or trivia. And I know they had this discussion at the workshop, I think it was, the numbers reflected that we have about the community shows about 69% are now year-round. And so maybe we'll see a more increase in the summertime with it being, air-conditioned and people want to be indoors.
Yeah, and a good indication, too, we're seeing is that it appears that bowling is going to be up for the summer, which is unusual. So we're hoping it all, forms the way we think it's going to form. We have a new league right now of 12 teams coming in from festival in the summer we never had before. And the Tuesday night league is growing. So it looks like we're going to have a decent summer. So hopefully that'll trend to the bar.
Great. Okay. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the one thing we talked about early on was doing like a wine tasting, having one of the, and you and I talked about that early on.
Yeah, and I talked to a couple of the distributors. The one problem is we don't deal directly with a wine company only. Mm-hmm. We go through our beer distributor. Mm-hmm. And right now, due to COVID, they let that person go. So, but definitely I'm on top of him all the time. Mm-hmm. And we'll definitely have something for the fall in that line.
Okay. I do have a couple of wineries that I've been working through through Zymergy, that they have a couple of wine tastings that the wineries come through. Sue, do you know where those wineries come from when Jackie Bernard has them come in and do those wine tastings. Yeah, because they're local, and I can't remember. She told me, and I'm drawing a blank, and I was trying to think.
Yeah, we're looking at the Wilcox, the 1912.
So,
That's an Arizona wine.
'cause
That's
they're-
who we're looking at.
Yeah, okay. So I was hoping that maybe we could get something going there, so maybe you and I could look
You
at that.
thirsty?
What makes you say that, Barry?
Yes,
But,
we'll look into that.
And then I was thinking maybe we could try and, if anybody on the board has some other thoughts for summer ideas to keep Lizard Acres going, maybe that might help Barry out.
Yeah.
If you have some thoughts, committee. But any other questions for Barry? Trey?
What's the current status of memos and how it's going with the pub and that whole thing?
That hasn't really changed. He passed away. His wife took it over. So they're closing early on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But Wednesday, they're doing a nice business. Their lunch business and breakfast business has really taken off. So, but if them working with us closer, that hasn't changed.
Tracy?
Are you planning on closing the bowling alley on Sundays this summer?
That's our
as well?
plan, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for Barry? Okay. I do have I got another email, Barry, and I know we touched base on this before, so I promised that I'd ask you again, and I have to ask it, should they happen to watch, I don't want to get challenged again. Shuffleboard, again, they're asking about another table in Lizard Acres and what your thoughts are on that.
Well, we just don't have the room inside the pub to do it. It would take up too much seating, and that would kill us on our busy nights.
Okay.
We might look down the road of putting another one in the lobby to where the old one used to be.
Oh, okay.
We could take a look at that if we could. We could do that if it's that popular. But I can't put another one in the bar. It's just
Okay.
no room.
Got it. And I apologize because, as you know, I have not been in Lizard Acres recently. But I know the last time we talked, you had additional furniture that was on back order.
Yeah, that
Has
came
that
in.
come in?
Right.
And you're good with that? You're happy?
I'm good with what we have, but we still need some more. On our Wednesday night and Saturday night, we need probably a couple more tables that I'm looking to purchase now.
And your freezer situation?
That hasn't changed. We still will need a walk-in
Okay.
if we continue the way we're going. Luckily, we have a couple old refrigerators we're sticking kegs in right now, which is, it forces us to buy the smaller ones, but it's, fine for now. But once the business grows, we'll need to get a walk-in.
Great. Thanks, Barry.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Oh, Nancy?
I just have a question about, regarding the kitchen and the beer and everything. Are there any long-term plans about redesigning that section of the Lizard Acres in order to accommodate what you want for your equipment?
Right now, no. That would be a major, major capital investment. I don't see that happening for a while. But it's possible down the road. Anything's possible. So.
Okay.
The furniture you're speaking of, funding would come from where?
Mr. Finelli, out of his checkbook.
Thank you very much, Pete, appreciate that.
So on that note, Pete, since you're so gracious with the furniture, is there any room in that checkbook for a walk-in freezer for Barry? Trying to help.
Well, I think we've communicated this before, but, you know, the general manager's authority would be adequate for any these stray furnitures that he's doing, as well as if he was able to do a remodel. I kind of echo what he's saying, though, is I think until the master plan kind of fleshes out too, I'm not so sure we would want to make that, because if there is alternatives that are being complemented with it or replaces it, I think we'd regret that. But.
Got it. All right, anything
And
else?
the other thing is it's very, very difficult to get furniture in general.
Yes.
The last time I waited 4 months for furniture, so that's an issue that we're also looking at.
It definitely, everything is a problem right now, so I know. Anything else for Barry? Any other questions? No. Oh, President Fitzsimons? No. Go ahead.
I was just going to suggest it might be a real good idea to kind of develop a plan for what you specifically would want, assuming that this is going to remain, and so that you kind of have a hit list of things that you would need to be planning for. And I want to echo what Lisa was saying about the master plan, indicating that people really want some things going on in the summer. And so I would really kind of look at kind of beefing that up and using the spot, because it's going to be nice and cool in there. And it's going to be hot, I assume, in the summer. So I would encourage you to go ahead with that. But I think developing a plan as to, okay, if we were going to be here, what kind of accommodations do we really need? Do we need the freezer? Do we need more soft chairs? Do we need another shuffleboard? And where would we put it? I would encourage you to kind of do that kind of an overall plan. And then the other thing is, I'd be real curious with the cost of this entire project, because I know when this was started, the idea was to be that this is not a money-making situation, and this is supposed to be something for the community and for the residents. And I think that, I think that that's being done. But I'm curious, I want to make sure that it's not costing us an arm and a leg to staff it in order to have something, not coming in. So maybe some of those kind of statistics are very important to find out if this is a project that should continue, or maybe we should enhance it or shouldn't enhance it. And some of those numbers might help us with that kind of decision.
Again, my apologies for not having.
So don't leave. I'm going to have another question.
Sure. My apologies for not having it for display.
That's okay.
But my vague recollection was once we did three things. We had the direct revenue reports from Barry. We then applied a cost of goods sold. And you got to remember that I mentioned it during the presentation that the whole pavilion is in there. So there's still lanes, beer being sold for the lanes outside of the pub. So we use his data. We apply a standard cost of goods sold. Then he gave me the specific staffing. We apply a little bit of add-on for FICA, Fui Sui, and things like that. We do have knowledge of how much, financing would happen for credit cards. We do have the initiation costs that were borne in the prior year. I think it was like 10 grand to get some exceptional furniture. So I have that amortized out over, I think I gave it a 2-year life. So long story short, it's not a huge, $10,000 a month profit center. It's not a loss. I believe I recall it, and again, I wish I had it to display. It was in the several low thousands of dollars of contribution.
Great. Thanks, Pete. Sue, you and I were talking I think we were in Lizard Acres at one point, a Wednesday night, and we were just talking about if we were regarding the master plan, if there was going to be any expansion at all of Lizard Acres, if we could, expand that one wall, of course, Barry, if we were able to expand it all. So is that what you're talking about, when maybe costs and where we would be headed if we're going to be able to beef things up a little bit?
Right.
Okay.
Originally, there were some other ideas about the location of the serving area, and my pet thought was to have some windows that looked out on our beautiful pool, which we've struggled with, and other ideas that were out there, that if we would maintain that space and that venue, what would we want to do with it? I think it's been done very inexpensively. I think we have really kind of done what we found in the master plan, where people said, yes, they want a restaurant, they want a place to hang out, but they don't really want a big expense of paying for that. And so I think we've done a great job with that. I mean, it's fabulous. People have a place to hang out. They're happy with it. We just need some small tweaks to continue it going. And I'm glad that it's kind of paying for itself. It's a flat, even kind of thing. And I think that our residents have to appreciate that. So, but I think it's always good. Now it's been a year almost since it was opened, and I think what we've found from that it's a real success. And we've gotten so many ideas from residents about, oh, we'd like to have this. Why don't you have that? How about this idea? And I think that that's really healthy too, where people have been suggesting things and then we respond to that. So I hope that, that would continue in your planning in terms of where would we like to see this go. I don't see us having another indoor restaurant or venue that's going to happen within the next couple of years, if that even comes to fruition. So we're talking about things for now.
I would agree with you. Thank you, President Fitzsimons. So anything to add to that, Barry?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay, great. So I think that pretty much sums up Lizard Acres. And then, so Joe, did you have anything to add?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't know how succinct I can make it, but I'll try. So, taking off from Sue's recommendations, I tend to agree, and it has been almost a year, except for this will be our first full summer, correct? So we don't have a full year of fiscal to go on, and I'm, of course, praying against it, but wondering if it's going to crash over the summer. Now, I'm delighted to hear you say that it looks like bowling is up, so that should go hand in hand a little bit. I mean, we shouldn't
Correct.
bottom out maybe as we have in other years. Because what I was going to suggest was, well, you're the manager, plus you've managed other retail outlets. So would it be a good idea to come to the next meeting, and maybe this leaps over to not skipping one, I'm not sure,
Okay.
and bring us your, whatever, your Tesla and your Chevy plan, for what you would like to see, maybe the Rolls Royce bumping out walls and stuff, maybe we don't need that, because again, based on the survey, not seeing people standing in line saying, oh yeah, raise my dues by $100 a month and make something bigger at Lizard Acres Pub. But does that make any sense in terms of in terms of strategical planning for this?
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to plan because you just don't know. It's not like you're dealing with a huge area of demographics where people are staying there all the time. So we, like Lisa said, 69% of people leave. So we're hoping that other 30% participate. The only thing I can say is when we first opened, everybody wasn't back yet, and we exceeded what we thought we would do at the beginning. So I'm anticipating it for at least to be there and not worse. And we still, we cut back labor. We didn't do music and we didn't do some other things that will, again, we're going through April to see how that, the ripple effect is. But, it's pretty much of a big guess right now. We just don't know. So, I can put something together, but it's strictly going to be, what do I think?
Right, and the only thing with that, Barry, is it was 69% of the community they're staying.
Okay.
As opposed to, leaving. But again, it's a fresh number for us, so we're not quite sure how much
Right.
of that percentage we're going to actually see.
Correct.
Saying, so I know we're going to have to kind of feel out the summer and see what happens, but I think.
And we also have to be real careful how we market too.
Correct.
We don't want to market to the outside and get flooded with people from the outside. Because I think if they'd hear about this place, they would come here to do the price reduction of what they're paying outside. So we have to be real careful about that.
Barry, if the Blizzard Acres Pub was fairly successful before the snowbirds came back, and we were doing that without any entertainment at all.
Correct.
It was just there.
Right.
And it was like you stopped in and had a beer or you didn't. So if we can continue the evening entertainment, I think we're going to be in pretty
Better
good shape.
shape. I agree.
Give it a shot anyway.
Yeah, correct.
I agree. I think continue that you're going to see that things are going to kind of continue to flow. And I think that with the bands, the people that you've brought in, continue to bring in, it's outstanding.
Yeah, they're
and
doing
I hear
well.
nothing but positive comments.
Yeah, they're
So,
doing great.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that. I'm really just so happy. And I think a lot of what I'm hearing in the community as well is one of the things President Fitzsimons touched on was spur. And so I think it will be up to the committee to work with Barry and bring him ideas and work with him as far as where we can offer to Barry and ultimately to the governing board as far as what we can do with Lizard Acres, whether it may be expanding it and offering more to the community with that facility. So if you guys have ideas, I think where I'd like to go from here is I was kind of tossing around the idea that maybe we don't have a meeting in the month of April and we roll into May because I didn't think there'd be a lot on our agenda. But now with this, and I kind of would like to perhaps put together some sort of a package and so that when the next committee, starting July, is put together, they will have something to work off of as well and move forward. So I would like to ask the committee to put your thoughts together and email me. That works. Okay. So I'll be here in the summer. And so that'll
Comment about not having outside guests just wander in. So can you envision a time when you may have swiping and/or guest type of scenario?
If we, I guess it would have to be something electronic because to labor the door, that would be a cost, I think, prohibitive.
Agree.
Thanks, Pete. So we could look at down the road if you needed something like that, Barry. We could talk to IT and use the current software possibly that we're using.
Have you been keeping track on
Okay, so any other director comments? I'm sorry, director. I don't know why I'm stuck on the workshop, wrong meeting. Sorry, we'll go committee. Any other committee member comments? No? Okay, and we're no longer taking remote, right? Okay, all right, thank you. Because on here it was I must have an old one. So I guess with that, I think we'll go ahead and leave the April meeting as standard.